The silence in space was broken by the low hum of the USS Liberty's engines as Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair, watching the stars through the main screen. His ship was small compared to the massive warships that other species built, but it was home to him and his crew of 47 people. They had been traveling through the Orion sector for 3 weeks now, mapping new star systems and checking for any signs of alien activity. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on the long-range sensors," said Lisa Campbell from her position at the navigation station. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the concern underneath. Lisa had been with him for 5 years, and she never worried about nothing. Jake leaned forward in his chair. "What kind of strange, Lisa?" "Multiple contacts, sir, really big ones. They're coming out of hyperspace about 2 million kilometers ahead of us." Lisa's fingers moved quickly over her control panel. "I count at least 200 ships, maybe more." The bridge went quiet. Dr. Ben Parker, who had been checking some medical reports near the back of the bridge, looked up with wide eyes. Chief Engineer Pete Rodriguez stopped his conversation with Amy Walsh, the weapons officer, and turned toward the main screen. 200 ships? Jake asked, keeping his voice steady. "Are you sure about that number?" "Yes, sir." "And Captain, they're big. Much bigger than anything in our databases. The smallest ones are at least 3 times our size." Jake felt his stomach tighten. The Liberty was a research ship, not a warship. They had some weapons, but nothing that could fight off 200 enemy vessels. "Any idea who they are?" "Working on it, sir." Communications Officer Kelly Martinez was bent over her station, trying to match the ship designs with known alien species. "Got it. These are Kethvar ships, Captain. 3rd Fleet markings." Everyone on the bridge knew that name. The Kethvar Empire had been expanding across the galaxy for over 100 years. They conquered everything in their path and never showed mercy to anyone who got in their way. 12 different species had already fallen to their fleets. "How far are we from the nearest human outpost?" Jake asked. 3 days at maximum speed," Lisa replied. "But sir, they're moving toward us. We can't outrun them." Jake nodded slowly. He had hoped they would never meet the Kethvar out here in the deep space between stars. The human colonies were still new, still growing. Earth's government had been trying to avoid any contact with the Kethvar until humanity was stronger. "Sir, they're sending a message," Kelly said. "Put it through." The main screen changed from the starfield to show an alien face that looked like a cross between a lizard and a shark. Its skin was dark green with black spots, and its teeth were sharp and pointed. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into English. "Human vessel, this is Fleet Commander Zexthul of the Kethvar 3rd Fleet. You are in space that now belongs to the Kethvar Empire. Surrender your ship immediately and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, you will be destroyed." Jake looked around at his crew. Pete was shaking his head. Amy had her hand hovering over the weapons controls. Dr. Parker looked scared but determined. Lisa was checking their options for escape, but Jake could see from her expression that there weren't any good ones. "Kelly, open a channel," Jake said. "Channel. Open, sir." Jake stood up from his chair and faced the screen. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Liberty. Commander Zexthul, you are the one who is trespassing. This is human space, claimed and registered with the Galactic Council. You need to leave immediately." The alien commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Human space? You have 1 small ship. I have 212 warships. Each of my cruisers carries more firepower than your entire species possesses. You will surrender now, or I will take your ship by force and kill everyone aboard." Jake felt the eyes of his crew on him. They were all waiting to see what he would do. The smart thing would be to surrender. The Kethvar were right about the numbers. 1 human ship against more than 200 alien warships was not a fight they could win. But Jake thought about the human colonies that were only a few days away. He thought about Earth, with its billions of people who were counting on ships, like the Liberty, to keep them safe. He thought about all the species that had surrendered to the Kethvar and were now slaves in their empire. "Commander Zexthul," Jake said in a clear, strong voice. "I'm going to say this one more time. You are in human space without permission. Leave now or face the consequences." The alien's eyes grew wider. "Consequences? You threaten me? You and your pathetic little ship? Pete, Jake said without taking his eyes off the screen. Bring all. Systems online. Amy, charge the weapons. Sir, our weapons won't even scratch their shields, Amy said quietly. Just do it, Jake replied. On the screen, Commander Zexthal was talking to someone off camera. Jake could hear other aliens in the background, and they all sounded excited. The commander turned back to face the screen. You amuse me, human. Very well. I will give you a demonstration of Kethvar power. Perhaps after you see what we can do, you will be more reasonable. The screen went black, and Kelly reported that the aliens had cut the communication. Sir, they're moving into attack formation, Lisa said. Looks like they're only sending about 20 ships forward. The rest are staying back. Jake nodded. The Kethvar commander was being careful. He wanted to test the human ship before risking his entire fleet. That was smart, but it was also going to be his first mistake. Pete, how are our systems? Jake asked. All green, Captain. The new defensive grid is online and ready. The experimental weapons are charged and targeted. Amy, target their lead ships, but do not fire until I give the order. Yes, sir, targets locked. Jake sat back down in his chair and watched the enemy ships approach. The Liberty's sensors showed him everything he needed to know about the Kethvar vessels. They were big, heavily armed, and protected by energy shields that had never been broken by any known weapon. But the Kethvar had never fought humans before. Here they come, Lisa said. On the main screen, Jake could see the alien ships getting closer. Their weapons were already glowing with deadly energy, ready to fire. In a few minutes, the first real battle between humans and the Kethvar Empire would begin. Jake smiled grimly. The aliens were about to learn something new about the human race. The first wave of plasma bolts from the Kethvar ships lit up the darkness of space like deadly green lightning. Jake watched on the main screen as 20 streaks of superheated energy raced toward the Liberty. Each bolt carried enough power to melt through a mountain, and there were 20 of them heading straight for his ship. Brace for impact, Jake called out, but his voice was calm. His crew noticed that he didn't sound worried at all. The plasma bolts hit the Liberty and simply disappeared. There was no explosion, no flash of light, no damage to the hull. The deadly energy just vanished as if it had never existed at all. On the bridge, Dr. Ben Parker looked up from his medical station with surprise. Captain, shouldn't we be dead right now? Pete Rodriguez grinned from his engineering station. Not with our new toys, Doc. Those plasma bolts just got absorbed by our energy dispersal field. Every bit of that energy is now stored in our power banks. Jake nodded. Pete, show them what we can do with all that free energy. Yes, sir. Pete's fingers moved over his controls, activating external lighting array. Suddenly, the Liberty lit up like a Christmas tree. Hundreds of lights along the ship's hull began flashing in complex patterns. The small human vessel now blazed with so much light that it could be seen clearly even from the Kethvar fleet's position. Amy Walsh laughed from her weapon station. Sir, I'm reading massive confusion from the alien fleet. They can't figure out what just happened to their weapons. Kelly, are you picking up their communications? Jake asked. Yes, sir. They're all talking at once. The fleet commander is demanding to know why their weapons didn't work. His officers are telling him that their sensors show the human ship actually got stronger after they fired at it. Lisa Campbell looked up from her navigation station. Captain, more alien ships are moving forward. Looks like they're bringing up their heavy cruisers now. Through the main screen, Jake could see 6 massive Kethvar vessels approaching. These ships were 3 times larger than the ones that had just attacked. Their hulls were covered with weapon ports, and energy was already building up in their main guns. Sir, Amy said, those are Dreadnought-class ships. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a moon. I see them, Jake replied. Pete, what's our power level? We're at 120% of normal capacity, thanks to their first attack. The energy dispersal field is holding steady, and all our experimental systems are online. Jake pressed a button on his command chair. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to test some new technology under combat conditions. Everyone, stay at your stations and trust in your training. This is what we came out here to do. The 6 Kethvar dreadnoughts opened fire all at once. This time, the energy beams were blue instead of green, and they were much more powerful. Space itself seemed to bend around the massive bolts of energy as they streaked toward the Liberty. Energy levels are off the charts, Pete reported. These weapons are 10 times more powerful than the first wave. The blue energy bolts hit the Liberty and disappeared just like the green ones had before. Once again, there was no explosion, no damage, and no sign that the human ship had even been touched. Power levels now at 160%, Pete announced. Captain, we're storing enough energy to power a small city for a year. Kelly Martinez looked up from her communication station with wide eyes. Sir, you need to hear this. I'm picking up a transmission from the alien fleet commander to his home base. Put it through the speakers, Jake said. The bridge filled with the sound of the alien commander's voice translated into English by the computer. He sounded angry and confused. High Command, this is Fleet Commander Zexthul. The human vessel has absorbed our weapons fire with no damage. I repeat, no damage at all. Our most powerful weapons are completely ineffective against their defensive systems. The human ship appears to be getting stronger with each attack, another voice answered, deeper and more threatening. Explain yourself, Commander. How can one small ship withstand the firepower of an entire fleet? I don't know, sir. Our sensors show that their ship is absorbing our energy and converting it for their own use. This technology is beyond anything we have ever encountered. Jake smiled and looked around at his crew. They were all listening to the alien conversation with growing confidence. Amy was checking her weapon systems. Pete was monitoring the power levels. Lisa was plotting potential courses. Dr. Parker was recording everything for his report. Kelly, Jake said, I want to send a message to the Kethvar fleet. Channel open, sir. Jake stood up and faced the main screen. Fleet Commander Zexthul, this is Captain Morrison. As you can see, your weapons cannot harm my ship. In fact, every time you fire at us, you make us more powerful. I suggest you reconsider your position. The alien commander's face appeared on the screen again. His green skin had turned a darker shade and his black eyes were full of rage. Impossible. No species has ever developed defenses against Kethvar weapons. Well, Jake said with a small smile. You've never fought humans before. What kind of technology is this? The commander demanded. Jake looked at Pete, who nodded. It's called science, Commander. While your people were busy conquering and destroying, humans were busy learning and creating. We studied your previous battles. We know exactly how your weapons work, and we designed our defenses specifically to counter them. The alien commander was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see him talking to his officers in the background. Finally, he turned back to face the screen. Human, your defensive technology is impressive, but defense is not enough to win a battle. You still have only one ship against more than 200. Even if we cannot destroy you, we can capture you. My boarding ships are already approaching your vessel. Jake's smile grew wider. Amy, are the alien boarding ships within range of our demonstration array? Amy checked her controls. Yes, sir. 12 small ships approaching from multiple directions. Range is optimal for a full system test. Pete, are our new weapons ready? Pete's grin matched his captain's. All systems green, sir. The kinetic accelerators are charged and ready. Targeting computers are locked onto all approaching vessels. Jake turned back to face the alien commander on the screen. Commander Zexthul, you're about to learn something else about humans. We're not just good at defense. The 12 Kethvar boarding ships were small and fast, designed to get close to enemy vessels and cut through their hull with plasma torches. Each one carried 20 alien warriors armed with energy weapons and metal-cutting tools. Commander, Zexthul watched from his flagship as they approached the human ship from all directions. Human Captain, the alien commander said through the communication channel, your ship may be protected against our main weapons, but these boarding craft will attach to your hull and cut their way inside. Then we will take your crew prisoner and learn all your secrets. Jake Morrison remained calm as he watched the small alien ships getting closer. Amy, target the weapon systems on those boarding craft. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Sir, our kinetic accelerators are designed for much larger targets, Amy Walsh replied from her weapons station. Are you sure about this? Trust the computer, Amy. Let the targeting system do the work. Amy nodded and pressed the firing button. The Liberty's weapons were completely silent. There was no flash of light, no sound, no sign that anything had happened at all. But on the main screen, everyone could see the results. All 12 boarding ships suddenly stopped moving. Their engines went dark, and their weapon systems shut down. The small vessels just floated in space, completely helpless. Pete Rodriguez looked at his engineering displays with amazement. Captain, the targeting computer fired 12 individual projectiles, each one smaller than a grain of sand. Every shot hit exactly where it was supposed to hit. The alien ships are alive and undamaged, but all their weapons and engines are completely destroyed. Dr. Ben Parker stared at the screen. How is that even possible? Those ships were moving in different directions at high speed. The computer calculates the exact path and timing for each shot, Amy explained. It can predict where every target will be and fire the projectiles to arrive at exactly the right moment. The aliens never even saw the shots coming. On the main screen, Commander Zexthal's face had gone from dark green to pale yellow. His mouth was open, showing his sharp teeth, but no sound was coming out. Behind him, Jake could see other alien officers running around in panic. Kelly, what are they saying? Jake asked. Kelly Martinez listened to the alien communications for a moment. Sir, they're asking how we destroyed their weapons without hitting their ships. Their sensors never detected any energy weapons fire. They have no idea what hit them. Jake pressed the communication button. Commander Zexthal, your boarding ships are disabled but undamaged. Their crews are alive and unhurt. This is a demonstration of human precision. We could have destroyed all 12 ships just as easily, but we chose not to kill anyone. The alien commander finally found his voice. What kind of weapons are these? Our sensors detected nothing. They're called kinetic accelerators, Jake explained. We fire small pieces of metal at very high speed. No energy signature, no heat, no light, just simple physics. Your shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not solid projectiles. Impossible. No one can aim that precisely. Lisa Campbell smiled from her navigation station. Commander, our computers can calculate the exact position of every atom in your fleet. Hitting a specific component on a moving ship is easy when you know exactly where everything is going to be. Commander Zexthal was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see him talking to his officers again, but this time their conversation looked more like an argument. Finally, the alien commander spoke. Again, Human Captain, your weapons are impressive, but you have only demonstrated them against small targets. My main fleet still has over 200 warships. Even with your precision weapons, you cannot defeat us all. Jake looked around at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting to see what he would do next. Amy had her finger over the weapons. Controls. Pete was monitoring their power levels, which were still climbing from all the energy they had absorbed. Lisa was tracking the positions of every alien ship in the fleet. Amy, Jake said, I want you to target the main weapons on the flagship and the 12 largest cruisers. Disable their primary gun systems, but leave everything else untouched. Sir, that's 13 ships with multiple weapon systems each. You sure our targeting computer can handle that many simultaneous shots? Only one way to find out. Amy began programming the targeting computer. The Liberty's sensors scanned each of the 13 ships, identifying every weapon system, every power coupling, and every critical component. The computer calculated the exact trajectory needed for each shot, taking into account the movement of the ships, the rotation of the weapons, and the precise timing required to hit all targets at once. Targets locked, Amy announced. Firing. Solution calculated. Ready to fire on your command. Jake stood up and faced the main screen. Commander Zexthal, this is your last warning. Withdraw your fleet from human space immediately, or we will demonstrate the full capabilities of human weapons technology. The alien commander's eyes narrowed. You are bluffing, human. No single ship can threaten an entire fleet. Amy, fire. Again, there was no sound, no flash, no indication that the Liberty had fired any weapons at all. But across the alien fleet, 13 massive warships suddenly went dark. Their primary weapon systems shut down, their main guns went silent, and their energy readings dropped to almost nothing. Direct hits on all targets, Amy reported. All primary weapon systems disabled. The ships are still intact, but they can't fight anymore. On the main screen, Commander Zexthul was staring at his control panels in disbelief. Alarms were sounding throughout his ship, and his officers were shouting reports about system failures. "Sir," Kelly said, "I'm picking up communications from the entire alien fleet. They're all reporting the same thing. Their main weapons are completely destroyed, but their sensors show no sign of any attack. They have no idea what happened." Jake sat back down in his command chair. "Commander Zexthul, 13 of your most powerful ships are now defenseless. We did this without harming a single member of your crew. This is what human precision looks like." The alien commander's voice was much quieter now. "How many more ships can you disable?" "All of them," Jake replied simply. "Every ship in your fleet." At the same time, without breaking a sweat. Commander Zexthul was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "What do you want, human?" Jake Morrison looked at the alien commander on the screen. Commander Zexthul's proud posture was gone. The HFY leader, who had threatened to destroy the Liberty, now sat hunched in his command chair, waiting for the human captain to speak. "What I want is simple," Jake said. "I want you to leave human space and never come back. I want you to tell your empire that humanity is not weak prey to be hunted. And I want you to understand that this encounter could have ended very differently." Before Commander Zexthul could respond, Kelly Martinez looked up from her communication station. "Captain, I'm detecting hyperspace signatures. Multiple ships dropping out of jump space." Lisa Campbell checked her navigation sensors. "Sir, it's human ships, lots of them. I count 12 vessels approaching our position." On the main screen, Jake could see the new arrivals. They were sleek human ships, each one about the same size as the Liberty. As they moved into formation around the lone research vessel, Jake noticed that they all had the same clean lines and advanced design. "Kelly, open a channel to the lead ship," Jake ordered. "Channel open, sir." A new face appeared on a smaller screen next to the alien commander. It was Captain Tony Sullivan of the USS Defiance, a man Jake had worked with before. Tony had short brown hair and friendly eyes, but his expression was all business. "Jake, we got your distress signal," Tony said. "Looks like you've been having some fun without us." "Just a small disagreement with our new neighbors," Jake replied. "Tony, meet Fleet Commander Zexthul of the HFY Empire." "Commander, this is Captain Sullivan." Tony looked at the alien commander with interest. "So these are the HFY we've been hearing about. The ones who like to conquer peaceful species." Commander Zexthul found his voice again. "More human ships, but even with 13 vessels you are still greatly outnumbered." Captain Sullivan smiled. 13? Commander, you're not counting right." He pressed some buttons on his control panel. "Jake, are you recording this encounter?" "Of course. Full sensor logs and communication records." "Good. This is going out live to the entire human fleet. Every ship, every colony, every military base is watching this right now." Jake understood. Immediately. A field test, exactly. The folks back on Earth wanted to see how our new technology works against a real enemy fleet. You've provided the perfect opportunity. Dr. Ben Parker looked confused. "Captain, I don't understand. What field test?" Pete Rodriguez grinned from his engineering station. "Doc, the Liberty isn't the only ship with the new defensive and weapons systems. Every human vessel built in the last 2 years has the same technology we do." Amy Walsh nodded from her weapons station. "We've been testing individual components for months, but this is the first time anyone has used the complete system in actual combat." On the main screen, Commander Zexthul was looking back and forth between the two human captains. "You mean all your ships have these weapons?" "Not just these ships," Captain Sullivan said. "Every human vessel in space, every defense platform, around our colonies, every orbital station around Earth. We've been preparing for this meeting for a long time." Jake leaned forward in his chair. "Commander, your empire has conquered 12 species over the past century. You've destroyed entire worlds and enslaved billions of people. Did you really think that no one would eventually develop a way to stop you? The alien commander was silent for a moment. Then he spoke to someone off-screen. Jake could hear other Kethvar voices in the background, all talking quickly in their own language. "Sir," Kelly said, "I'm picking up their internal communications. The commander is talking to his fleet captains. They're all reporting the same thing. Their weapons are useless against human ships and they can't win this battle." Lisa Campbell looked up from her navigation station. "Captain, more ships are arriving. I count another 20 human vessels dropping out of hyperspace." Captain Sullivan's voice came through the communication system. "Jake, those are ships from the outer colonies. Word is spreading fast. Everyone wants to see how this ends." Commander Zexthul stared at the growing number of human ships. Each new arrival looked exactly like the Liberty and the Defiance, clean, efficient, and obviously equipped with the same advanced technology that had made his powerful fleet helpless. "How many ships do you have?" the alien commander asked quietly. "In this sector?" "About 50 more are on their way," Jake replied. "In human space total? Several thousand. And Commander, every single one of them can do exactly what the Liberty just did to your fleet." The bridge of the Liberty was quiet, as everyone waited for the alien's response. Dr. Parker was recording everything on his medical scanner. Pete was monitoring the power levels, which were still climbing as the Liberty continued to absorb energy from space. Amy was tracking all the ships in the area, both human and alien. Finally, Commander Zexthul spoke. "Captain Morrison, I need to consult with my superiors. Will you allow me to send a message to the Kethvar High Command?" "Of course," Jake said. "Take all the time you need. But Commander, while you're talking to your leaders, remember something. We could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first few minutes of this encounter. We chose not to. We disabled your weapons instead of killing your crews. That was a choice we made." "Why?" the alien asked. "Why show mercy to an enemy?" Jake thought for a moment before answering. "Because we're not like you. We don't want to conquer anyone or rule over other species. We just want to be left alone to explore the galaxy in peace. But if someone threatens our people or our colonies, we will defend ourselves." Captain Sullivan's voice came through the speakers again. "Commander, the human government has a message for the Kethvar Empire. We're willing to discuss peace, trade agreements, and mutual cooperation. But any future attacks on human settlements will be met with a much stronger response than what you've seen today." Commander Zexthul nodded slowly. "I will deliver your message to the High Command." He paused, then added, "Captain Morrison, your species is very different from what we expected." "How so?" "Every species we have encountered either surrendered immediately or fought to the death. You have shown us a third option: victory without destruction, power with restraint." The alien commander looked tired suddenly. Perhaps it is time for the Kethvar to learn new ways. Jake stood up from his command chair. "Commander, you're welcome to stay and talk more, but your weapons are disabled and your fleet is surrounded. I suggest you return to your home space and deliver our message. The next time we meet, I hope it will be under better circumstances." "Agreed, Captain Morrison." Commander Zexthul gave what might have been a respectful nod. "Fleet Commander Zexthul to all ships. We are withdrawing from this sector immediately. Set course for home space." As the massive Kethvar fleet began to move away from the human ships, Jake sat back down in his chair. Around him, his crew was smiling and laughing with relief. They had faced impossible odds and won without firing a single deadly shot. "Captain," Dr. Parker said, "do you think they'll really leave us alone?" Jake watched the alien ships disappearing into hyperspace. "I think they'll think twice before threatening any human colony, and that's all we really wanted."